Welcome to the Flipside Crypto Interview. Joining me today is the CEO, Hal Bame of Ojamu.
How are you, Martinus? Good to be here.
What is Ojamu's purpose?
The purpose of Ojamu really is to help brands navigate this new digital realm of marketing, especially organic marketing that they're facing nowadays. A lot of things changed in the last decade or two. You had the introduction of ad tech, which we are not. It's very important to differentiate. And then in recent years, the introduction of MarTech, marketing technology. And this is the exciting bit in the area we're playing in. So we're trying to help brands navigate this new kind of world of digital marketing, digital campaigns, and using smart, intelligent tool sets, AI, built on blockchain technology, NFTs, machine learning, all of this to essentially automate digital campaigns for any brand, product, or service.
So for our viewers at home, Ojamu is a Singapore-based company. And right now, what you should be aware is that most likely, most of the brands you know and love today have problems marketing themselves the right way. And Hal, could you just elaborate a bit why it's so hard for brands to actually market themselves the right way and reach their target audience?
I think that's a good question. A lot of it has to do with the geocentric nature of marketing now, especially digital and organic marketing. What I mean by organic marketing is you're not throwing up a banner ad or buying time or on TV or something like that. It's where it could be social media, could be podcasting, could be online publications, but things that are growing organically, you're growing your audience, really growing your engagement. That's one of the challenges people have, is how to ensure organic marketing, because these are the customers and kind of loyal fans and consumers and companies that are using your service. If it's an enterprise solution where they're really, they're going to stick. They're going to be around for a long time. They're engaging with your brand. They're using your services or buying your products. One of the bigger challenges that comes along with that is the geocentric nature of things. So you mentioned, we are a Singapore holding company. I lived there for 8 years. I've been going there for 11. The way it's very different when you're marketing in parts of Southeast Asia than you would market in the US. The US, everything's very homogenous. There's obviously one language, different regions, but generally you're going to lose a lot of the same marketing channels. And even if you're a small kind of startup company selling, the coolest new shoes, you might do some stuff on Instagram or, Shopify, but that's not going to be, the be all and end all of everything. You've got to identify some other channels. And then you compare that to a Southeast Asia, which is really like Europe, a bunch of different regions, a bunch of different countries, a bunch of different languages, cultures, and what comes along with that is different social media marketing channels. For example, you'll have things like Line, from Japan, in Korea, which is very popular in Thailand. And then in Singapore, of course, Facebook, Instagram kind of rule. Then you've got WeChat and Chinese speaking things. So there's all sorts of different, and video channels that you need to be aware of. And it's very hard to do that if, for example, you're sitting in an office in New York or in London or in Zug or in Stockholm and trying to figure out the differences. So that's where the AI, automation, machine learning, natural language processing, and making it all safe, secure, distributed on the blockchain infrastructure can come in and really assist these brands with how to navigate these campaigns.
So I don't know about the viewers at home, but for example, for me, I just need a little bit more clarification. So let's just say I'm a brand and we sell the best socks in the world. We can knock your socks off, And essentially, how would we engage with Ojamu? What would be the process, step by step, if you could?
First of all, we have to know AI and the blockchain technology is only going to work together as smart as the data you feed it. The more data you feed, basically an AI machine learning platform, the better it's going to perform. And what's really important for brands right now is there's tons of data out there. I mean, just immeasurable amounts of data online, from habits to trends to engagement on social media to podcast uptake, whatever. What we really do is kind of bridge that gap where the AI, machine learning, and other tools, smart intelligent tool sets that we have will make sense of it for the brand. So the first step is get all the data we can from the brand that we're speaking with. So send us, if you've never done anything on social media, fine. What do you want to do? Who do you think your competitors are going to be? And this is one of the main things that Ojamu does. It takes out so you mentioned, Martinez's new sock company, which sounds very exciting. For 40 years, basically with a bit of money behind you, you would tender out to 4 agencies, to the 4 agencies that worked with the biggest sock companies. And they say, this is what we think you should do because we know more than you. We've been in this game and we work for all these big brands. And it's at the end of the day, no matter what analysis they have, it's we think. It's subjective based on our experience. We rip all that out. This is basically, we would say to Martinez, this is what the data says. The data says this. Love it or hate it, dislike it or like it, this is it. And the data is, and then from that data, our AI is recommending this is the digital campaign that's going to give you the best chance of success. So for example, your image recognition. So image recognition software we're putting together. It would say the picture, the image, the static image should be legs, socks, on a bed, at sunrise, light coming through, down to the pixel, right? The natural language processing would suggest context, content, hashtags, things like that. And then the AI itself would be saying all together, do it in these channels, these target markets, blah, blah, blah. So it's a long answer to your question, but basically the first thing we do is get all the data we can from the brand, everything we can from them. And then the more the better. And then we'd say, what are your goals? We have an entire onboarding kind of process that we're going to take the brands through. And then you work in partnership with them and you optimize based on what the AI is saying. And the more data we get, the better the AI is going to perform.
Actually, I love that answer. It was just good enough so that my tired brain after 3 coffees can actually, kind of absorb it. And what about crypto marketing? Can Ojamu help crypto marketers around the space?
Yeah, so this is something we're particularly excited about. Myself and partners and other strategic partners we have involved have all been in the blockchain space for some time. Obviously, what's really interesting is when you look at things like FTX, Tom Brady, there is, Tom Brady and all this stuff. You're now seeing crypto-based, if we're going to call it that, companies face a lot of the same challenges as your sock company would, or Nike, or any major brand. It's a competitive, well-established space now, and that's only going to get more competitive and bigger and more established. So we think, at the end of the day, we're a B2B solution, right? Our clients are going to be brands, maybe digital agencies. Brands can be crypto companies, traditional companies, startups, established. For us, it's inconsequential, but we definitely see a massive opportunity in the crypto space as it gets more and more established, more and more general take up, both on a business enterprise side and a consumer side. What's interesting is as you move forward, these brands, they think they know who their clients are going to be, both established and startup, traditional and crypto. But what's interesting about the way Ojamu is going to work as the AI grows and gets smarter and smarter is it will find what we call data clusters. So for example, back to your sock company, you think your clients are obviously people who buy socks or shoes or whatever. Yeah. But what the AI might find is that people who buy LED lighting are actually very, very susceptible, if you will, to marketing for socks. And their history of buying LED lighting, they also buy socks. Now, no human would ever find that, but AI algorithms and going out into the digital realm will find these weird connections. It could be people who buy, organic, towel-based shampoo, also like buying socks. These are the 150 million, 200 million data points that humans cannot find. So this is also what's going to be interesting when we talk about what we can do for crypto brands. Again, getting back to your question, is we can find audience and clusters that they may not be aware of or may not know, and then they can target some of their marketing to that.
Yeah, so if I understood you correctly, marketing in the future will be successful marketing in the future will be determined by how well you can utilize data and aggregate it and then use smart tools to essentially more accurately predict and actually engage your target audience, maybe in a way which you couldn't if you simply used humans.
You said two things there very interesting. One, in the future, they'll be using data. I'd say that's now already happening. Everything just got accelerated with COVID. Nobody could go out. Their budgets got killed. Their businesses got killed. So suddenly, what's the most effective way to market? Digital marketing, because it doesn't cost that much. If you're a massive brand and you're used to spending, ATL, above the line, TV and billboards and all this stuff. So I think that was already happening. Obviously with the growth of e-commerce and all this, COVID just accelerated everything massively. How am I going to figure out how to market digitally? I'm going to look at data, right? So that's already happened, but it just got massively accelerated. One. And then the other thing you mentioned is predictive nature. And this is the goal of our cognitive engine. The cognitive engine that we're building, we want to be able to predict trends of consumers, engagement on social media, which podcasts they're going to listen to, which online publications they're like. In the future, we want it to even predict manufacturing. Hey, here's a new gel that's being developed, and it could be the next thing in running shoes, to help your sock company or whatever it's going to be. So, but at the beginning, we want it to predict where you should be marketing, where's the next, the next marketing channel that really is getting massive take up you may not be aware of. And here's a new geographical region that you may not be selling to now, but they're really buying, right now. So there's all sorts of different things around predictive nature, but our predictive algorithms are going to be, in essence, the real core of the cognitive engine at the end of the day. But it takes a lot of time to develop this.
Yeah. And as a possible consumer of Ojamu, I am excited at the possibility of this predictive nature. As a layperson, as a simple user, I would think it's a bit scary to think that it could in fact predict the future. It seems a bit, something which was in science fiction books, but right now it's really happening. So it's exciting, but
I think it's probably no scarier than the stuff that's out there already, especially when you get to, the Amazons and the Walmarts and the Alibabas of the world. I mean, they're running, pretty monster algorithmic and AI teams for quite some time now. So we're just trying to find a nice little niche and be very targeted at assisting brands rather than trying to predict the be all and end all of what everybody's doing every minute of their lives. We're just trying to help brands, both big established ones who are maybe plateaued and they're like, how do we grow more? Or we're losing market share to all these cool young startups, and then vice versa to help the startups to scale and get bigger. And because if you're a startup in New Jersey or a startup, as you said, in Zug, you might not be aware of how to market to, 150 to 270 million new consumers coming online in Indonesia, right? And things like this. So that's where we want to help out.
All I know is I need to now create a sock company so I could test out all of your promises. Oh my, what am I doing in news? Anyway, the flip side, I have to ask, it's a segment in the show. Ojamu, what is your weakness?
The weakness is what we're building is pretty complex. If it was easy, as they say, everybody would do it. The algorithms are fairly deep. You need a wide spectrum of them. The machine learning is just that, learning. It takes time to learn. It doesn't know everything at the onset. The acquisition of data is always a challenge. You have to respect privacy laws, which get stricter and stricter, which is a good thing. You have to be very careful how you store that data, everything else. Again, respecting things and not getting specific with any of the individuals that comprise maybe a big data pool. And then generally the functionality and feature sets that we're going to lap onto it. We're super excited about the NFT aspect of things. Digital art is nice, but it's kind of the tip of the iceberg. I was running around conferences 2018 in the crypto winter. My background's all video games. I used to work with PlayStation Codemasters for a number of years, and the marketing challenges were significant, really significant. And then I got into mobile gaming and esports startups. I mean, I cannot think of an industry which is harder to market than mobile games. We even called it like the death spiral. Spend, get into the charts. All of this stuff on Apple and Google. And thank goodness some of that stuff is starting to change now. But I mean, when you talk about the challenges, it's really about the technological development, getting the right feature sets on at the right time, not rolling things out too fast, and allowing the machine learning to learn and do its job, and making sure that it has the right and relevant amounts of data to feed it. We don't want to feed it, data that's completely irrelevant to what the brands or crypto companies, for example, are looking for. So when we look at usage of NFTs and other things, we're coming up with some very, NFTs are very, very powerful things at the end of the day, even though they're data files at the end. So, the way we will utilize NFTs to access our platform and work within it is going to be quite unique, and we're pretty excited about. But all this takes a little bit of time to develop, for sure.
Brilliantly said. Very insightful, actually. We are quite skeptically optimistic about the NFT space. We're right at the very beginning, so it's interesting to see what it will transform into. It seems to be accelerating, but with some setbacks, let's just say that, along the way. But that's to be expected from a young market. The whole space in general is so young.
Well, I think it's just the tip of the iceberg. It doesn't matter what gets it popular. It's one of the biggest challenges with blockchain technology, right? People don't understand it, adoption, mainstream, blah, 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 right? So it doesn't matter what gets 500 million eyeballs on it, whether it's, a Beeple painting or, LeBron dunking a basketball, who cares? It gets eyes on the NFT area, which gets eyes on blockchain, which gets eyes on crypto, which is a good thing. But now it's up to the companies to put the work in and really develop the technology. And, NFTs can be, I'm sure we've all seen all the videos, they can be eventually in every aspect of our lives. They really can, but people have to put in the work to develop these properly. It can't just be the quick, flip of a basketball dunk and things like that. There's a lot of depth and a lot of opportunities with NFTs, but they have to utilize the opportunity and put the work in on the development.
Absolutely. Now, Hal, one last question before we go. Could you just tell me what, in your mind, is the future for marketing? Just in a sentence or two to encapsulate, what do you think is the future? Is it more of the same, more data-driven? Will AI be dominating? What's your gut feeling?
I think it has to. I mean, if you look at the way everything's going, what are the key things that every business wants right now? They want automation, right? Less people, better bottom line, right? There's more data out there than ever that's been available. You'd be an idiot not to use it, but it takes a lot of time and intelligent tools to sift through it, filter it, and figure out which is relevant to you. So those two things are not going anywhere. The use of data and the usage of AI and most importantly, automation. And I think, automation obviously is across everything, from self-driving cars to your refrigerator to whatever. So these things aren't going anywhere. And what that means is definitely less people involved in the marketing process. However, at the end of the day, marketing is based on emotion. It's not always just a price or it's an image, brings out emotion from you, and, a song or a phrase you read. So, eventually, sure, maybe AI will master, the context of emotions and, how to exude those from someone and receive them. But I think that's probably some time off. So you're always going to have a human element, but the basis and the growth of the marketing industry will definitely be based on the digital realm. And to master that and effectively, really, really have targeted and high probability of success for your campaigns, humans can't do that. So the AI's job is to do all the legwork, get out there, identify all the opportunities. It can suggest and recommend campaigns, but at the end of the day, there will be some human element in terms of, but I think it'll mainly be around the emotive value and maybe some gut instinct, which is a good thing. but certainly it's going to swing heavy towards the AI as things move forward.
Brilliantly said. And I have a challenge to all of the Flipside viewers out there. If you have any questions about marketing, digital marketing, its future, and Ojamu especially, feel free to get them in the comments, and we'll kindly ask Hal to come over again and give us an explanation. Fantastic. This has been the Flipside of Crypto interview. Thank you, Hal, for joining us.